Okay, hi, my name is Brian Walker, and bipolar mania has driven just about every aspect of my life for my entire life. Not something I wished for, but it's just the way it is. And with bipolar disorder, you get into a mode where you are so intent on achieving something that it's just like being in a spaceship headed to a distant galaxy where the whole time there's nothing else to see or do except be fixated on your intended goal. Now, when I was very young, I just discovered that I was very creative and inventive and decided early on that I wanted to become an inventor and make a living at it, which I began to do by working on projects that kind of would address everyday needs. But then I got to a point where I wanted to start being involved in more projects that had greater potential. Like this was a stretcher I had developed for the military that would fold up in a little pack and you could set it up and carry injured personnel on it. Then I began to get more grandiose ideas, and this was a hovercraft I designed. It was equipped with lasers and target sensors, and I wanted to create an amusement center called Hoverland where people would float around and it would be like laser tag meets floating bumper cars meets video games. And this eventually drove me to a point where I moved to the Fiji Islands and I built this two-man recreational submarine on the same island where they filmed the Blue Lagoon. And it was a great experience, but I soon began to learn that these projects of some magnitude were almost impossible to take to complete fruition, mostly because of capital. So I decided to focus my inventive skills on the toy industry and invent toys. And after many years, lots of prototypes, and a whole lot of failures, I soon began to license toys that I invented. And for the first time in my life, I was actually making money at something I enjoyed doing. And then one day, I came up with a new little idea, very, very simple product, a little spinning light toy, and quite frankly, I never expected I was going to make any kind of significant money on it at all. And a couple years later, however, it became a Disney product, and it was very quickly called the Light Chaser, and this product became one of Disney's biggest sellers and was just absolutely incredible, something I never expected. And virtually every single Disney character has been represented by a light chaser. And 12 years later now, the toy has sold close to $500 million at the retail level. So now that I had millions of dollars to play with, I decided I was going to follow my greatest dream that I had since I was a child. And I was going to build a home-built rocket, and I was going to launch to the edge of space and do something that no one had ever done before. So I began this project, and I turned my 13-acre compound into, or 13-acre property into a compound where I put up buildings and all my training equipment, everything that I thought I might need to make this venture come off, and it became quite a huge endeavor. I built my rocket garden, which was my training area. I had a launch tower, a centrifuge that I could pull almost 10 Gs in, and then a multi-axis tumbling chair that I would use to train to not vomit when I was tumbling out of control. And I even began traveling to Russia where I could train with active Russian astronauts, and I even got the chance to take a ride in a MiG-25, which was the second highest and fastest flying aircraft ever built. And we got up to 18 miles high at 2.5 times the speed of sound, and it was just awesome. It was 60 degrees below outside, but the canopy was warm to the touch from friction. And below you could see the curve of the earth, and above you could see the pitch black of night. Now, the other unfortunate thing about the mania is that it would sometimes compel me to do crazy, stupid, ridiculous things, like the time I had an idea in my head to spend $250,000 in 1 month on 2 Mercedes. So it was extreme retail therapy, but it didn't really work. So eventually the media got hold of my story, and I ended up spending 4 years constantly in the media all over the world. But then, just when I thought nothing could go wrong, life was great, the bottom of my life fell out completely and everything went away. And I suddenly discovered why with bipolar, the South Pole is such a terrible place because, like a black hole in space, it sucks you in and it doesn't ever want to let you out. And the worst part about this entire thing is the level of sadness, depression, and abject hopelessness that you get to when you're in that level is something that I don't think a non-bipolar person can ever truly understand, because it is not a good place to be. So I struggle every day to kind of keep on top of it, but it is not easy. So thank you.